At the end of a long room beyond the skylight which, except a feeble side window, was its only light in the daytime, was a door that led, part past a small lavatory, and up half a dozen narrow steps to the kitchen, one of the strangest and grimmest old kitchens you ever saw. Across a mighty hatch, thronged with dishes, you looked into it and beheld, there, the white-jacketed man, cook, served by his two robust and red-armed kitchen maids. For you they were preparing chops, pork chops in winter, lamb chops in spring, mutton chops always, and steaks, and sausages, and kidneys, and potatoes, and poached eggs, and Welsh rabbits, and stewed cheese, the special glory of the house. That was the menu, and the men were the only guests. But of late years, as innovations often precede a catastrophe, two new things were introduced: vegetables and women. Both were respectable, and both were good, but it was felt especially by the virtuous Smurthwaite that they were de trop in a place so masculine and so carnivorous. O plump head waiter at the cock, to which I most resort, how goes the time? 'Tis 5 o'clock. Go fetch a pint of port. But let it not be such as that you set before chance comers, but such whose father great grew fat of Lustinian summers. No vain libation to the muse, but may she still be kind, and whisper lovely words, and use her influence on the mind to make me write my random rhymes, ere be they half forgotten, nor add and alter many times, till all be ripe and rotten. I pledge her, and she comes and dips her laurel in the wine, and lays it thrice upon my lips, these favored lips of mine, until the charm have power to make new life-blood warm the bosom, and barren commonplaces break in full kindly blossom. I pledge her silent at the board, or gradual fingers steal, and touch upon the master chord of all I felt and feel. Old wishes, ghost of broken plans, and phantom hopes assemble, and that child's heart within the man's begins to move and tremble, through many an hour of summer suns, by many pleasant ways. Against its fountain upward runs the current of my days. I kiss the lips I once have kissed, the gaslight wavers dimmer, and softly through a vinous mist my college friendships glimmer. I grow in worth and wit and sense, unboding critic pen, are that eternal want of pence, which vexes public men, who hold their hands to all and cry for that which all deny them, who sweep the crossings wet or dry, and all the world go by them. Ah, yet though the world forsake, though fortune clip my wings, I will not cramp my heart nor take half views of men and things. Let Whig and Tory stir their blood. There must be stormy weather, but for some true result of good, all parties work together. Let there be thistles, there are grapes. If old things there are new, 10,000 broken lights and shapes, yet glimpses of the true. Let rafts be ripe in prose and rhyme, we lack not rhymes and reasons. As on this whirligig of time, we circle with the seasons. This earth is rich in man and maid, with fair horizons bound. This whole wide world of earth, this whole wide earth of light and shade comes out a perfect round. High over roaring temple bar, and set in heaven's third story, I look at all things as they are, but through a kind of glory. Head waiter honored by the guest, half mused a reeling pipe, the pint you brought me was the best that ever came from pipe. But though the port surpasses praise, my nerves have dealt with stiffer. Is there some magic in the place, or do my peptics differ? For since I came to live and learn, no pint of white or red had ever hath the power to turn this wheel within my head, which bears a seasoned brain about, unsubject to confusion, though soaked and saturate out and out through every convolution. For I am of a numerous house, with many kinsmen gay, where, joyous, where long and largely we carouse, as who shall say me nay? Each month, a birthday coming on, we drink defying trouble. Or sometimes two would meet in one, and then we drank it double. Whether the vintage, yet unkept, had relish fiery new, or elbow deep in sawdust slept, as old as Waterloo, are stowed when classic Canning died, and musty bins and chambers had cast upon its crusty side the gloom of 10 Decembers. The muse, the jolly muse it is, she answered to my call. She changes with that mood, or this is all in all to all. She lit the spark within my throat to make my blood run quicker, used all her fiery will and smote her life into the liquor. And thence this hollow lives about, the waiter's hands that reach to each his perfect pint of stout, his proper chop to each. He looks not like the common breed that with the napkin dally. I think he came like Ganymede from some delightful valley. The cock was of a larger egg than modern poultry drop, stepped forward on a firmer leg, and crammed a plumper crop. Upon an ampler dunghill trod, crowd lustier, late and early, sipped wine from silver, praising God, and ranked in golden barley. Well, technically that's sorcery, isn't it? A private life was all his joy, till in a court he saw a something pottle-bodied boy that knuckled at the taw. He stooped and clutched him fair and good, fell over roof and casement. His brothers of the weather stood stock still for sheer amazement. But he, by farmstead, thrope, and spire, and followed with acclaims assigned to many a staring shire, came crowning over Thames. Right down by smoky palls they bore, to where the street grows straighter. One fixed forever at the door, and one became head waiter. But whither would my fancy go? How out of place she makes the violet of a legend blow among the chops and steaks. 'Tis but a steward of the can, one shade more plump than common, as just and mere a serving man as any born of woman. I range too high. What draws me down into the common day? Is it the weight of that half-crown which I shall have to pay for something duller than at first, nor wholly comfortable? I sit my empty glass reversed and thrumming on the table, half fearful that, with self at strife, I take myself to task, lest of the fullness of my life I leave an empty flask. For I had hoped by something rare to prove myself a poet, but while I plan and plan, my hair is gray before I know it. So fares it since the years began, till they be gathered up. The truth that flies the flowing can will haunt the vacant cup. And others' follies teach us not, nor much their wisdom teaches, and most of sterling worth is what our own experience preaches. I'll let the rusty theme alone. We know not what we know. But for my pleasant hour 'tis gone, and let it go. 'Tis gone. 1,000 such have slipped away from my embraces, and fallen into the dusty crypt of darkened forms and faces. Go therefore thou, thy betters went long since and came no more, with peals of genial clamor sent, and many a tavern door, with twisted quirks and happy hints, from misty men of letters, the tavern hours of mighty wits, thine elders and thy betters, hours when the poet's words and looks had yet their native glow, nor yet the fear of little books had made him talk for show. But all his vast heart Sherry's warmed. He flashed his random speeches, ere days that deal in Anna swarmed, his literary leeches. So mixed forever with the past, like all good things on earth, for should I prize thee, couldst thou last at half thy real worth? I hold it good, good things shall pass. With time I will not quarrel, but it is beyond. It is but yonder empty glass that makes me maudlin moral, head waiter of the chop house here, to which I most resort. I too must part. I hold thee dear, for this good pint of port. For this thou shalt from all things suck marrow of mirth and laughter. And wheresoever thou move, good luck shall fling her old shoe after. But thou wilt never move from hence the sphere thy fate allots. Thy latter days increased with pence go down among the pots. Thou battenest by the greasy gleam in haunts of hungry sinners, old boxes larded with the stream of 30,000 dinners. We fret, we fume, would shift our skins, would quarrel with our lot. Thy care is under polished tins to serve the hot and hot, to come and go and come again, returning like the pewit, and watch by silent gentlemen that trifle with the cruet. Live long ere from thy topmost head the thick-set hazel dies, long ere the hateful crow shall tread the corners of thine eyes. Live long, nor feel in head or chest our changeful equinoxes, till mellow death, like some late guest, shall call thee from the boxes. But when he calls, and thou shalt cease to pace the gridded floor, and laying down an unctuous lease of life, shalt earn no more. No carved crossbones, the types of death, shall show thee pass to heaven, but carved crossed pipes, and underneath a pint pot neatly graven. Well, the afterlife it makes sense if it's a continuation of the sort of person you are here. And we know the unlawful eating and the unlawful consumption of drugs factors into most people's deaths that let these things into their life. And by unlawful, I mean spiritually unlawful, so the drinking and the pork and whatnot. But like Hezekiah's backward runs, the shadow of my days. Will you focus on pleasure seeking? Will you be like those, or will you be like he who prays? And thus the whirligig of time brings in his revenges. So we keep watch of ourselves and trim our psychic hinges. Okay, I think that's my